So hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to speak about some of the challenges that you face in your IELTS examination and a few strategies that will help you overcome these challenges. So without much ado, let's get started with the video. So one of the major challenges that you face in your IELTS exam is like time management. You will never get enough time to answer all the questions. So if you are not practicing well in advance or you practice time management, then this is going to be detrimental to your IELTS score. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take each section of IELTS exam and then I'm going to tell you guys how you can effectively manage time in each of these sections. All right. So first I'm going to take IELTS listening. So IELTS listening is where you get a recording and you already have the questions which are going to come from that recording. So before hearing the question, before hearing the recording, you have the questions, okay? The questions are not that difficult. The recording is also not that difficult if you're listening to that properly, and you will be able to do, or you will be able to answer all these questions. Then where all these people are failing? So what makes the IELTS listening tough is like you have to do this in a stipulated time. The time pressure makes the IELTS listening difficult or a hard nut to crack for you guys. What you can do in IELTS listening to make it effective is like, after each session, you get like 30 seconds to review your answers. So basically in the 30 seconds, the recording is finished. So it is highly unlikely that, now you're going to get an answer to something because you can't go back and listen to it again. But still, if you're thinking like, okay, if I think a bit, I can find an answer to this question, then you can do one thing, you can keep it to the last. In the end, you will get 10 minutes to copy your answers to an answer sheet. So that is going to take maximum of like 3 minutes. Still, you're left with good 7 minutes. So you can do that kind of question in the later part. When you're getting that 30 seconds after each session, to review your answer, what you can do is like you can go through the question that is coming up. So that is giving you an extra time which will help you to cover all the questions. So if you are prepared in your mind like, okay, this is a question that is going to come and this is a keyword I'm going to look for, then there is a higher chance that you will get the answer right. So whichever questions you are missing in the first part when you're going through, you can deal with that. You can put up a little bit of pressure in your memory. Okay, I have heard this. Remember, what was that? And this kind of pressure you can put on your brain. Later in the 10 minutes when you get to copy your answers from your question paper to your answer sheet. All right. So the next is IELTS reading. Here you have a lot of things to read. You have terribly long passages, 3 terribly long passages. You have 40 questions to answer from that within a span of like 60 minutes. This is a horrible task. And if you're not managing your time, you're not going to reach anywhere. So basically in IELTS reading, what you can do is like, first what people usually do is like they read the long passage. So by the time you reach the end, you will be forgetting what was there in the beginning of the passage. And when you match that with the question, then you will be clueless. You don't even know what I read and what is this people are asking. So what you can do is like, first you can read the question. So this way, back of your mind, yes, this is what you're searching for in the paragraph that you read. Mostly in IELTS exam, these questions come in an order. That means most probably the answer to the first question will be in the first paragraph. So when you read the question and then you read the paragraph and you think like, okay, I think the answer is somewhere in this paragraph, then what you can do is you can read that particular paragraph again and compare that with the question. So this way you can manage a lot of time. You can save a lot of time and you can effectively complete all the 3 passages. So in IELTS, it is like the first passage is quite easy. So in each passage, you get like 20 minutes. So you don't need like full 20 minutes for the first easy passage. So try to complete that as early as possible because you can do that in like 10-15 minutes and save some time so that you can do you can spend that time in more difficult passages. The later passages, once you first, second, third, the difficulty keep on increasing. And in between, if you stumble upon some questions, if you're not getting an answer, don't waste your time over there. Just leave it there, move ahead, complete the other passages, other questions, and then later on you can go back to that. In this way, you spend the least amount of time on the question that you're not sure about. And if you're losing that, if you're not finding an answer to that, it is okay. You're just losing one question. If you're wasting unnecessary time on that, you can't work out the other questions, which probably you will be getting an answer to that. So never do that. All right. So the next section is IELTS Writing. IELTS Writing is one of the least scoring section in the IELTS examination. One of the reasons behind this is the mismatch between what the candidate thinks like the examiner is looking for and what the examiner is actually looking for. So this mismatch causes the students to, or the candidates to score the least. So here you're not only being assessed on your language skill, but also on your writing skills. 50% of the score is for your vocab and your grammar, which basically is your language skills. And the next 50% is for how well you write the examination, where they are basically looking for your writing skills. To score good, you have to fulfill all the criteria. You have to fulfill the requirements that the examiner is looking for or the examiner is marking you on. To know this, first you have to learn what are those criteria that you are supposed to fulfill. Without knowing that, you will never be able to do that. But don't worry, we got you guys covered. I will be taking more videos, I will be taking more classes and helping you guys to know more about what are these criteria and how you can effectively fulfill these criteria. Both we will be dealing with. All right. So don't worry about that part. So the last section is IELTS Speaking. IELTS Speaking is basically a one-on-one interaction with the examiner. Here the examiner is in control of the time. They have to ask or they have to test you on particular number of topics of criteria. So they have to ask you different kind of topics or particular number of topics. So they have to do that. For that, they have to control the time. So if you are talking or if you're talking continuously, if you're giving long answers and all, sometimes they will interrupt you. That is not because you are doing something wrong or something like that, but they are running out of time. That is why they are doing this. For this, what you have to do is like in IELTS Speaking, you have like 3 sections. First one is kind of an introduction. You don't have to pay much attention to this because it's kind of a warm-up. Your score depends on part 2 and part 3. You have to practice. You have to practice the time management. Like how can you effectively take the cue card, form. What you have to do is like you have to get the cue card. Then you have to form an idea. You have to form an idea in a continuous manner so that when you speak for that full 2 minutes, there will not be much filler words in that. Your ideas are very crystal clear and you will be able to put it across to the examiner. So all these things you have to practice. And in the third section, you have to practice giving a long answer. Long answers, really long answer, because here you have to talk till the examiner stops you. He may stop you early, he may not stop you that early. That depends on your luck. But you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. You have to learn. You have to practice talking that long. Especially people like us, we are not from an English speaking background. So what we have to do is like, speak to your friends or someone in English minimum for 15 minutes in a day. Any amount of time is good, but 15 minimum you have to speak every day. And you have to listen to probably some English series, news, anything. You have to listen to English and you have to speak in English. Both things you guys have to do. All right. So with this, we are ending our video today. I hope this video has been very helpful for you guys. If that was a case, please do like this and do share this with your friends. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you. And